I'm just setting up the YouTube recording and then we can get started because we do have a lot to cover. All right. So today I'm really happy to see so many faces. Thank you. As I say that, Mariella went off, but that's okay. Today's topic is very important. It's about interview skills. And, you know, there are so many things that we do to get this interview. You know, if you remember when I first started, I said resume tells, which is tells your story, and interview sells, right? So we've done hours of research, working on our resume, working on our accomplishments for this time, and the time to be face to face in front of an employer and market ourselves, right? Because this is what gets us the job. You know, everything else gets us to this. So everything else is important, but this is the most important. And there are a lot of things that we need to do in order to be prepared for having a productive interview. And sometimes we need to have a lot of interviews in order to really convert, right? So to understand the process of interviews, you've been through Career Connections over the past 12 weeks. If you understood what the process is, and y'all experienced a part of the process when you were reaching out to strangers and asking for projects, right? When you were reaching out on LinkedIn and not getting responses or getting ghosted, and, you know, and sometimes getting projects that did not really fit what you were looking for. You know, that is the whole prospecting part. When you're job searching, you'll be sending so many job applications, right? Then suddenly something happened and some of you started getting, right? And, you know, even in my case, I started getting a lot of projects. So right now I'm sitting on 3 projects that I don't have teams for. And I know that once the process starts, it starts coming. You know, then it came to about team interviews, right? And many of you pitched for many projects, but only one was selected, right? And then another thing I said to y'all is that do the best you can, because perhaps you might not be, you know, you might not get selected for the project they've given, but they may be able to create. And that happened too, right? Y'all met with sponsors and they're like, oh, yeah, Meena, we love this other team too. How can we get them involved as well, right? So that's exactly what happens in a job interview, right? And today I'm going to do something that is going to, that I've never done before. I'm going to put one of the serial interviewers at this point, I call him, on the spot at some point. I'm smiling, Karthik, yes, and ask him to share his experience over the last couple of weeks when he started his interview process. But before we get to that, we will first cover some important things. And again, for the final time, this is our last class together for at least this year. I will see you again in the new year. Hopefully, if we all survive this. A couple of things that you all need to complete are your 2 final assignments. Some of you have already done it, but many of you, there's only like literally 20% of all the students that have done the capstone prospecting assignment. Okay, you all need to complete that and you all need to upload it on Blackboard. It was due last month. So please make sure you upload it so it's out of the way. And then next week, we do not have a class. And I'm giving you this so that you can finish off your, you can focus on your technical assignments and you can finish off the final assignment, which is really a self-reflection on what we are learning today, your interview skills. Okay. So in total, remember, you need 60% to pass. Okay. So chances are, if you did 3 assignments, you'll pass. But my love, my darlings, my adorable darlings, if you think you've gotten away by not doing the last assignment, that will be the first assignment we do when you get back, in a very, very different way with employers. Our employer engagement classes are on Friday. Okay. They are going to be March classes. Now, if it so happens that there's going to be a class conflict, between the classes, and I might, just have the speaker come in the middle of the first class and end in the middle of second, but you will be spending Friday, one of the sessions with me. Okay. So when we meet, we will discuss which class works better, and then we will pick that slot, or we'll do them merged. The first week, as if hopefully you all saw my email, the first week is going to be the Capstone Virtual Kickoff. Okay. My problem is that we have common sponsors between your campus and Toronto campus, downtown campus. And we have common faculty mentors between your class and the other school, all the sections. So I might have to have this event a week before the classes start. Okay. But I don't know, I don't have any of the details. I have a meeting on Tuesday next week with my associate dean, and we will discuss all of these things, and I will get back to you. So my humble request is that I'm going to email you all, okay, whatever email you have on the Blackboard, because I don't know if Blackboard is going to give you access to the course, and I know that access will be dead. So please, you'll receive an email from me. Please read that email. It'll give you the details before the semester starts, telling you, hopefully I'll be able to tell you next week, but just in case I don't have a decision, I will let you all know. So you'll receive an email about the Capstone Kickoff. Okay. Any questions about anything? No? Okay. So with some of you, you may have already gone through the slides, and if not, we'll go through it together. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and jump in and directly ask the question. If you don't feel like talking, you can put it in the chat box, and we'll go through the questions. You can feel free to put your webcam off for now. Whilst I go through it, it's completely up to you. First time, and probably the only time, you will hear Meena Dolwani saying, "You're okay to put your webcam off." All right, so let's get started. Job interview skills. Let's get that job. I said, right, we do so much to get this, and here many a times we lose it. And I'll tell you many ways of why you've lost your interview, why you've lost that job, and how you can avoid losing it in the future. So the first and the most important tip that I want to give you, well, why don't we watch this video?
You'll ever get. Job search is a tough job. And many a times we get hurt because we're rejected or we don't hear from anybody. But the most important thing to remember is we are unique. We are who we are. And yes, my friends, you are who you are. So my 10th tip for today is be confident about your skills. Be confident about who you are. When you speak to people, don't apologize for what you don't have. Showcase what you have and how awesome you are and what you can do for them. So our 10th tip again is be confident, be positive, and focus on your strengths. Think about the journey you've had. Some of you have come from a different part of the world, crossed oceans, continents, just to be here in Canada. Some of you have done all that and gone to school, spent the last couple of years polishing your skills, getting better in your strengths so that you can perform better. So you've gone through all of that. Job search? Come on, it's a piece of cake. Yes, I know that when we get rejected, we start doubting yourself. And it's that time that we need to look at ourselves from the eyes of those that admire us. Think about your family. Think about your kids. How do they look at you? With what eyes? Right? So when you're talking to an employer, showcase those strengths. Earlier today, my 19-year-old was extremely nervous, and he has a presentation today, and he started off with an apology. I'm not good with this. And I said to him, Mason, you are absolutely brilliant. Focus on what you've done. Focus on your message. Focus on what you are bringing to the table. Everything else, secondary. So my friends, the same advice to you. You are unique. You're an asset to any organization. It's that organization that needs to love you and respect you for who you are. And if they cannot see that, they don't deserve to have you. Be confident, be positive, look at yourself as who you really are, because there's nobody in this entire universe that can be you.
So, my biggest tip when you are going for an interview is be confident of yourself. And it's difficult to be confident, when you already have a lot of doubts about yourself. I understand that. But how do you overcome those doubts? How do you overcome, the fact that, you feel that you're not good enough? Well, the only way to overcome any of this is through practice and preparation, right? How do you prepare? You prepare by getting to know the company. You prepare by knowing, researching the organization, the people. But you also prepare by really understanding what your strengths are, what your skills are. So as we go through this, this presentation today, I'm going to help you with understanding and really thinking about what are your strengths, what are your skills, and how do you put that in the most most appropriate light. Some of you may have watched this video, but I love to show this little skit. I want you all to really watch this, and then I have questions in the end. So be prepared to give me some answers. Pay attention.
So, you want your job?
What do you do?
Me and the half man hunter. Me all together.
You hunt together.
These days, many men. So, they will say us having. Take your most time. Hunter? Maybe get it?
Why you leave that job?
That's more time. Me make the time to bigger.
How long you with that job?
10 months?
10 months? Me hear you leave after 2 months. Me hear you leave and go travel around playing with friends. Me too. Me don't try to chase for time.
Me just want to play. Me guys just see them. Yeah.
Lovely. Little. Little.
going to that there, Peter.
So here's my question. What is the one takeaway from this video for you? I hope you all watched it, by the way.
Do not lie during the interview.
Excellent. Thank you. So now you won't believe it. In my last class, nobody could answer that question. So excellent. Who else?
Be prepared.
Fantastic. Be prepared. Good job, Alex.
Be on
Well,
time.
Be on time. Yes. Very, very important. What else?
And you should be prepared to answer any questions related to your prior experience or prior company.
Sure. Thank you. So, yes, don't lie.
Resume part, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, the resume part, like we should be prepared for something like that. So we should have some planning too.
Yes, and very good catch, Mustafa. So, previously when there were a lot of face-to-face interviews, I would see a lot of students, take their resumes, like, they fold it and they take their resume like that. Or we have events and they're taking their resume like that. Very unprofessional. For 99 cents, you can get a folder in which you can put your resume. Okay, and for those of you that have a book center in the campus, just go, you can get it for 99 cents, a report cover. Be confident, know what you want, who you want to be in 5 moons. Really? 5 moons? 50 moons. That's 5 years. So that's a really good interview question. See, the guy's interview was going well until he started lying. And you'll hear a lot from people around you, and you may even see your peers doing it, right? They'll encourage you to fake your resume. They'll encourage you to lie. And they'll tell you, oh, this is how it happens in the industry. This is the only way to get a job, right? But you don't realize how small the world is getting, right? Someone somewhere knows someone, okay? So news will travel, right? You will definitely give, when asked for references, you'll give certain people. But hey, if somebody was joining me and I had a friend in that company, and I may directly or indirectly, specifically that person had worked in that company previously, not working there anymore, I may directly or indirectly find out, hey, what do you think of so-and-so, right? That's how references happen, right? It's because people talk. So when you lie and unfortunately you get caught, it ruins your reputation. So regardless of everything that you've done, right, you get discredited. Another thing, if you all remember when I showed you LinkedIn, okay, I showed you how LinkedIn Recruiter works, right? And how recruiters can put comments without you all knowing. And these comments on LinkedIn are shared across the board. So if I have access, if I'm a corporate recruiter and I buy the premium package of LinkedIn Recruiter and I put in comments that you lied in your resume or you've lied during your interview, my comments can be shared with all the recruiters in my company or anybody that I give access to. So if it's somebody like me and my network is huge, and you cheat me or you lie or you do something wrong and I put it on your profile, that's it. There goes your reputation. So be very mindful. It's better not to get the job than to get the job through lies and being unauthentic. Okay? So please, whatever you do, don't lie. Another thing I want to share with you, I was talking to one of my Destination CEO participants yesterday, and he shared something very interesting. I think I had mentioned this to you, maybe it was in another class, but when he joined Destination CEO a couple of years ago, he was quite frustrated because he was seeing that there was this scam business happening where, there were a bunch of international students, they were doing 2-3 jobs, right? When it was interviews with this, so there's an Indian company or some agencies over here telling them that they'll give them, that if they paid these agencies, then these agencies will not only work on their resume, but fake their resume and ensure that they get the interviews and they get the job. So it's like I'm lip syncing, but there is a whole scam where somebody else is interviewing on my behalf. So he was telling me that his roommate had 3 jobs like that, 3 full-time jobs, and not small companies. One of the companies I remember he mentioned was Rogers and Deloitte, and there was one more company that she was getting full-time salary, and she wasn't working, she just show up for meetings virtually. She was paying other international students money to do the work, to do her work. So when I was talking to him yesterday, and I'm like, and he's doing really well. We got him his dream job, and he's doing really well. He got promoted, and he's actually working from India. So his offices work from anywhere. So he's in India, and he shared with me that she lost all 3 jobs because she got caught, and she's having a hard time getting a job. Whereas he, being authentic, has now grown. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of what you do, believe in yourself. The good and what you deserve will happen for you. I guarantee. Okay. So now back to switching off our webcams and on the slide deck. All right. So what is the purpose of an interview? Okay. Interview is not a one-sided conversation. It's not where, you're being judged and the employer or the interviewer has all the rights. No, an interview is a 2-sided conversation. It's a 2-sided exchange of information. Look, you got the interview means on paper, you are the right person. You have the skills, you have the experience. Now there needs to be, okay, are you really that person that is on the paper? And, do you have the right attitude, right? And on your end, you also want to know the same things. You've done research on the company. So you want to see the people and say, hey, are you really this company that does these things and have these values? Is this really your company culture? Are you really the type of people I want to be spending, even if it's 5 moons, I'll be spending the next, year or 2 with you, right? So purpose of interview is an opportunity to meet either virtually or in person. And to exchange information, both from their end and from here. It's really getting to know each other, right? So the goals of an interview, what are the goals of an interviewer? So you see, first thing you have to remember is an interviewer is just as nervous as the interviewee, maybe a little more nervous. Why? Because they have been given the responsibility. They've been given whatever, 60, 80, 100, 200,000 dollars to invest in a human who they are going to be meeting probably for an hour maximum prior to making that investment, right? So they need to make sure that the person that they are moving forward with, right, that they are hiring, really wants to be a part of their organization, right? For that, they want to know, is this person here only because there is a job and they're desperate? Or is this person here because they really want this job with our company, right? They really want to know the goals of you, of the candidate sitting in front of them. And then what can you do for us, right? We have a problem that needs a solution. Are you the right person for it? right? Will you stay back when there needs to be? Will you update yourself when there needs to be, right? Will you be a team leader when need comes? Will you be a team player? Roll up your sleeves and, like they say, get your hands dirty. Right? What can you do for us? And what kind of a person you are. If everything works out, you're great, you've got the skills, you've got the experience, you've got the right attitude. Now it's about what makes you different from others on the same, with the same experience, with the same skills, right? And it's just like going for those capstone interviews where y'all had to pitch as a team, right? And then the employers chose which team works best for them. And sometimes they wanted more, right? So do you know what it is that makes you stand out from the other person who may have the similar experience? And the second thing, and the final thing is, can I afford you? So as a hiring manager, as an interviewer, if I find everything in that person, for me, hey, I've hit the jackpot. Now I want to know if I can afford them, right? Because if I pay you less than what the market value is, chances are, the minute you find more money, you're going to leave. If I pay you what the market value is, chances are somebody pays you more, you're going to get some experience and leave. If I pay you a little above the market value, will I be able to retain you, right? Because when it comes to time of change, it costs the company 30 to 40% of a person's annual salary to find a replacement. So we'd rather give you 10% or 20% and retain you versus pay 40% and find someone else, right? So whenever you're in an interview, you need to think, what is it that the interview wants from me and how best can I give it to them? What are your goals of an interview? And obviously you invested so much time in your applications, you prepared, now you're there. Why are you there? You want to know, what does the job really involve? Is it going to utilize my skills? You spent 2 years or 1 year in education, you've worked so hard, you've left your homes, you've come all the way over here. Now you have this job, right? You have this interview. What does this involve? And that's why I say to all my students, if you do proper job search, you will never need to work in a survival job. A lot of people hear, oh, you have to start from a survival job. This is the only way to job success. I was talking to somebody who has over 10 years of branding and marketing in India experience. Worked with celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan. These are big celebrities in India. Right? Worked with big celebrities, big sports like cricket celebrities. Like done some really fantastic campaigns, and she's come here. And because she's a newcomer, everybody is telling her, including her peers, her friends, oh, get a telemarketing job because you need to better your communication skills. She's got fantastic communication skills, right? She's a branding expert. Really, you need to get a telemarketing job? So no, you don't. If you know yourself and you do proper job search, which I'm teaching you, there is no reason for you to fall in that trap. Right? So understanding, do my skills match this job? And are these the kind of people I want to work for? Right? You may hear, I always tell everybody that's job searching, understand the values of the company, but look at the Google reviews. Look at company's profile. Look at how many people have worked in this company and for how long have they been working. When you see that there are 50-60% of the people working in this company for the longest time, you know that this company is a good company, right? 50% of the people, yes, they're going to be moving around. If you see 50% of the people there for a long time, you know that this is the kind of company you want to be working with. In an interview, how toxic is the environment? By talking to this person, you got to know, is this a person, you know, is this the type of hiring manager that will respect me or will misbehave, will micromanage, right? And if all of the boxes check out for you, can I persuade them that there is something unique about me, different from my peers or from the other applicants? And can I persuade them to hire me at the salary that I need or want? Big difference between need and want, right? So your goal is to understand this during this 1 hour or half an hour you spent in the interview. Any questions? All right. None popping up. Okay, let's move on. We watched the video of Tarek. It gave you a lot of insight, and I asked you to, you know, pay attention to these important things like the hidden job market, you know, smells, body odor, resume selection, phone interview, dressing for an interview, body language of the applicant, of the hiring manager, and the different kinds of interview Q&As. So let's just jump into the interview Q&As. So understand that there are mainly 4 types of interviews. Again, it really depends on the company, it depends on the position within the company. For example, just in Humber, right, for my position, I needed somebody to replace me with the undergrads. And, you know, I referred somebody, you know, the boss met with the person for half an hour, had a conversation like the person made the offer. Done. You know, in terms of full-time faculty, you know, there were 3 panel interviews. One was a screening interview, one was a panel interview with faculty and coordinators, and then the final panel interview with the senior deans, right? Even in these interviews, different kinds of questions are asked because there are different people and different level of decisions that are made. So understanding the different kinds of interviews and how to prepare for these interviews, extremely important. Like I said, the only 2 important factors that'll make you successful is preparation and practice, right? For every single step. So let's talk about the first step. The first step is your screening interview. This could be on the phone. This could be receiving an email and asking for a time to have a 20, 30-minute video chat, right? So the first is the screening interview. Now, a screening interview is, you know, every step is very important, but this is where your resume has been approved and passed over from a computer to a human. The human has shortlisted your resume, and they want to see if you have what is written on the resumes. Once they've determined this, then it goes to the hiring manager. So this is the shortlisting process, right? So your resume did the mark. Now, you know, talking to you to make sure that you are who you say you are, and you know, you should be invited for the next round. Commonly asked questions, you know, we talk about credible introduction all the time. Commonly asked questions, tell me about yourself, you know. Now, it can be worded in many different ways. Bring me up to date with your resume. Tell me a little bit about your background. You know, again, so different ways of the same thing. Tell us about yourself. We've gone through your resume and would love to ask you specific questions about your background, right? So I like to call this a credible introduction, because it is now your opportunity in 1.5 minutes to give a full introduction of who you are, what skills you have, what, some of your most challenging, or at least one of your best accomplishment relevant to this position, and then, why you are there. So if you were an experienced professional, it would be obviously different. But if you were a new grad, it would be a little more simpler, at the same time highlighting what it is that you want to do, right? So I'd like to share this video with 3 of my Humber students shot in North Campus, introducing themselves.
We ready, guys?
Yes.
As ready as we'll be, I guess.
Hi, my name is Andy. This is Mina.
Hello, everyone.
Humber, and the show is called
All About Jobs.
At Humber College, and we're with 3 live students. Your names are?
Hey, hi, I'm Akshi.
Hi, I'm Sanjay. Hey, I'm Kevin.
And we're talking about the elevator pitch today, or as Mina would like to call it, the credible introduction. And if we go on to her incredible LinkedIn page, we have it right here, the credible introduction. So tell me about it, Mina. What is the credible introduction, aka elevator pitch?
What it is it's about introducing yourself credibly in front of an employer in less than 30 seconds.
And we have 4 criteria when we introduce ourselves to an employer. They are:
Name,
Hi, I'm Akshi. I'm a database developer and I'm pursuing ID Solutions database development from Humber College, and I'm mastered in Oracle 11G 12C, PLSQL, so our middleware. I'm a very flexible and an organized person.
you gave us all 4 in one, right?
that's right.
So that was name. What was the second thing?
Specialization.
What's your specialization?
Hi, I'm specializing in Java development, mostly Android development.
Excellent. And the third criteria is?
Education,
What's your education?
I'm a computer programmer at Humber College.
Diploma?
Yes.
Advanced diploma?
No.
When are you graduating?
This April.
Thank you. Fourth criteria.
objective,
What's your objective?
My objective is to be able to seek a Java developer position in a fast-growing company and to grow with the company.
We heard your objective. Repeat your objective for us, please.
Hey, I'm mastered in database development, so I want to work for a company who would utilize my technical skills and I would give it the best.
And your objective?
My objective is to find a mobile application development job where I can further my skills so far that I've already learned. Or
Right.
make them better.
So that's it. That's the elevator pitch, but as you like to call it, the credible introduction.
yes, you want the employer to listen, not to just hear.
And we listen to you guys.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not an employer. I'm just the director of continuing education here in media studies.
Humber College,
Humber College. We can employ you, but we wish you luck. And when you're employed, you can take us out for lunch.
Yes.
That's definitely a yes.
Yes.
thanks for watching.
I'm Andy,
It's Mina.
and it's all about jobs.
So as you can see, this was my favorite boss, Andy Ainsworth. And even though he says that he's not an employer, he did after this hire Akshi, who's the only girl over here, and Akshi was hired at Humber College to manage a registration system, which is based with Oracle, or made with Oracle, and recently she moved out and she went elsewhere. But there you go. This credible introduction that was templated and given to all of you. When you're going for an interview, you customize it. And I showed you the trick. You look at a job description, go to the bottom of the job description, look at the bullets that you would use to customize your resume, look at those bullets, and then that's how you start. My name is so-and-so, I have this education. You look at, I have so many years of experience specializing in blah, 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 right? So use that as your guide, as your blueprint for customizing your credible introduction prior to any interview you have. This way, you're going to make it, and you're going to put in one of your biggest accomplishment, which is relevant to this position, making the interviewer curious to ask you questions about the accomplishment or the projects that you shared. So all of you are going to be working on your projects. And these are the projects you're going to be talking about. The experience that you're gaining, the whole experience that you got, building your teams, reaching out to sponsors, interviewing with the sponsors, getting the project, now working on the project, managing the team, or working with a difficult manager, right? All of these experiences is what you're going to start talking about. Okay. If we had a lot of time, I would do this exercise, and I still might do it later. But first, I want to go through the whole interview skills part. Anybody have any questions about credible introduction or how to introduce yourself? No questions. All right. I should almost stop asking this if anybody has any questions, because I'm sure if you did, you will ask. Anyways, to help you prepare, I know that you don't have a lot of time right now, but over the holidays, right, as you're getting ready for employer engagement, for your final semester, trust me, in the final semester, you're not going to have a lot of time. So you want to utilize this time to prepare yourself so that when you get your interviews, you can lock in your jobs before you get into your final exams. And that's definitely going to be my goal, working with you. And you all saw, if I make a goal, I make sure I achieve my goal, except my goal is to help you. Your goal is to take the opportunity and run with it. However, preparation is the key. If you don't prepare, you know what happened with the whole capstone. All right, so 2 resources that are going to be helpful for you to prepare for your interviews. One is the interview prep section in LinkedIn, which is absolutely excellent and specifics. And the second one, I came across this fantastic article on Indeed, which I thought would be very helpful. And this article tells you about all the screening questions. Tell me about yourself, describe yourself, why are you applying for this position, why do you want this job, tell me what you know about the role, why do you want to work over here. Again, what do you want to know about the role, why do you want to work here, why are you looking for jobs, what are you passionate about, right? So this article covers all of these questions and gives you examples on how to answer these questions. Okay. And during the screening, all right, if it is a basic phone screening, they're just calling to ask you if you're basics, and then set up an interview. You should always have questions prepared for every step of the interview. So first step of the interview, let's say it's a phone screening, tell me about yourself, and then they book you an interview. Ask important questions. Who will be interviewing me? Who are the people on the panel? Is it in person or virtual? If it is virtual, what platform will it be happening on? Any tips on how you should prepare? Very important. Could you please tell me if it's a technical interview, or should I be preparing more of, situational or behavior questions, right? So don't be afraid of asking questions when you're invited for the interview, okay? When you are in the interview, okay, at the end of the interview, different kinds of questions you will ask. So some examples that you might want to consider is, what does a typical day look like in the life of this person, right? questions around what training is required, or what is the the career trajectory of somebody within this role. Who is the management? What is the management style, right? And go into a little depth if you have to. Okay, but very important, what is the next steps? So I'll go a little deeper into this, all right? But basics of any interview is to make sure that the questions you want answers to, you have the person inviting you, you should ask those questions. And don't be afraid of asking those questions, because otherwise you're not doing justice. I've had many times, students show up for an interview and it happens to be a technical interview, or it happens to be a 3-hour interview, but they weren't told this. And they're like, oh gosh, I thought it was going to be an hour, and they're freaking out. Or sometimes it is like different level interviews all in the same day. Like Lucky was saying, Lucky and Sachin had that experience, right? So ask questions so you are fully prepared. I gave you the tip of being confident, but there's a very fine line between being confident and overconfident. Okay, so sound friendly and be confident. Don't be overconfident, because that's going to just rub out the wrong way. After the call, right, when you finish the interview, thank the interviewer. All right, now if you've been called, this is a phone screen, you thank the interviewer for their time. Okay, when you're having a conversation, if it is a phone conversation, remember they cannot see you, just like right now you cannot see me, but the fluctuation of my voice tells you, if I'm excited about this or I'm upset about something, right? So smile when you're having the conversation, because they can feel your calmness from there. Okay. If it is a virtual face-to-face interview, please dress up. Even if it's a scheduled phone interview, it helps when you just prepare yourself. Part of preparation is dressing up, because it kind of builds confidence. But that's, again, everybody is different. Other kinds of interviews are case interviews. So first you've had screening, then the next step, it could be either a technical interview or a case interview. It could also be a video interview where, like in the banks, for example, Sachin and, them, they were sent questions and asked to record a video with the answers and send it back. Why? Because they want to see your facial expressions, right? They want to see you answering those questions. Or it could be a case interview where they could send you, if you're applying for a consultant role, they'll send you a problem and they'll ask you to create a presentation with the solution, right? It could be a technical interview. They'll tell you, okay, you're going to have, we're sending you, and some of you have gone through it, we're sending you an assessment, you need to finish it by so-and-so time, right? So there are different kinds, but this is when they are really testing your technical specific technical skills, right? Then it comes to, and of course your technical skills, you're always, you all know, so I don't need to get into it. You're our gurus and can teach me a lot in that. Then it comes to the most difficult part. This is the behavior and situational based questions, right? These questions are asked in many different ways. They're usually really trying to understand you and get to know more about you, right? Now, what is the difference between behavior and situation? So behavior questions are really about questions that, that you have had the experience, okay? And situation is, what would you do if, right? So some examples I've given over here in terms of behaviors. Describe a system you use to keep track, for keeping track of multiple projects, It's a very simple question. How do you track your progress so that you can meet deadlines, and how do you stay focused? Right? Because everybody knows that in order to complete any project, you need to be focused, singularly focused, right? You want to have a focused mindset. So describe the system you use. Now, I have multiple things going on all day long, right? And honestly, sometimes I have a list of like 50 things to do in a day. Always, I'm human. I can't do 50 things. I may start 5. I may not even finish 3 out of 5, right? So how do I keep, I have a system. I use Asana because I am connected with my other coaches or my other team members, and they need to inform me on things. I need to inform them on things. And sometimes if you don't have a system, you lose track. Some people use Slack. In the tech industry, Slack is very common. Some people use a system called Monday. So what is your project management system? And then how do you stay focused, right? Do you achieve what you're supposed to, right? Then it's situational. Yes, understanding you are a new grad, you may not have experienced many of these things. However, how would you react to if certain things happened, right? A perfect example is, what would you do if the work of a subordinate or a team member was not up to expectations? And we've seen a lot of that lately, right? So how would you handle conflict? Right? So when you are asked these questions, there are a couple of things I'd like to teach you, okay? One acronym goes by STAR. Now, I know Sachin and Lucky, one of them, mentioned this, and we're going to go a lot in depth into it in the next semester. But STAR acronym is really situation. So describe the situation, task, what did you do? What was specific tasks that you needed to complete? What action did you take, and what were the results? So try to take the situation, try to give examples of positive outcomes, right? So when you think about, either a behavior or a situational question, think of STAR, right? Now, how do you explain it? Don't give a really long-winded story. This is why I ask you that when you look at a job description, look at the important 3 skills, 3 technical, 3 soft skills, and 3 transferable skills, and write a story under each of these skills. Okay. And you're going to write the story under the STAR. So, you've got 1 minute to answer. Put 10% on the situation, 10% on the task, 60% on action, and then, you've got the results, right? 20% on the results. So if you go with that mind frame, your answers will come out more fluently, right? It will have a flow. So whenever you are answering any interview question, which is situational behavior, try to give examples from your past so that the interviewer that is listening to you, right, can go on a little bit of a journey, a mental journey on, I see this person doing this, or really it can be done this way as well. Now, my friend Amir, many of you will meet him next year, but Amir is a senior tech leader. He's worked for large organizations like Rogers, Soti, Slack. He's currently working for a really unique organization called Benevity. And he's going to be working as a professor, my role, with the computer programmers. He came up with this really unique style, and I called it Amir's ABC. So Amir says that whenever asked, and I've seen it in action when we were actually interviewing him for my position, whenever he's asked a question, he starts off with an accomplishment. So tell me about a time when, you had to deal with conflict, and, how did you deal with it? So he started off with, conflict resolution is part of my daily job, and I handle so many conflicts on a regular basis. And then he went into details, right? And then he closes it again with rewording that same accomplishment. So when he starts off with the accomplishments, like, wow, really? How did you do that? Right? He goes into the story, and then he wraps it up with, and then da 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 da, and this happened. So regardless of what you want to use, either Amir's ABC or STAR, a lot of HR people are used to the STAR methodology, and they'll talk about it, but the minute they listen to Amir's ABC, they become a fan. So regardless of whatever you use, okay, try to take the interviewer on a little bit of a journey so that they are curious enough to ask you more questions. Okay, now I'm going to stop a little bit over here, and where is my friend Karthik? Hello, Karthik.
Hi, hello everyone. Yeah,
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
So, Karthik, I don't do this normally, but today I'd like to put you on the spot. Okay. I'm going to shine the light on you. Hang on a second. This is how we do
Okay.
that. Spotlight for everyone. There you go.
Okay.
Karthik, welcome and thank you for joining us. I know that you've joined us, but people don't really know you.
Yes.
You've been a serial interviewer for the past couple of weeks. You've followed a specific process. I'd like you to share a little bit about your journey, of who you are, and we end with what happened today.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. So, firstly, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be in interactive session with Humber students and everyone. So basically, I did my master's from Concordia University. I graduated in May 2022. And before that, I started my journey as a customer service officer with Axis Bank back in India. I worked over there 1 year. Then I worked as a project coordinator with Pras Associates, which is actually a consulting firm, where I used to work on database management and project management. Then I decided to come Canada. I did my master's, and right now, from last 5 to 6 months, I'm looking for jobs. So before having conversation with Meena ma'am, I tried multiple things, changing resumes, trying different approach, reaching to the people, but still I was not sure about the right pathway. I need someone who can guide me in a proper way. And then I fortunately found Meena ma'am about her approaches, about way of style and everything. I connected with her and I discussed about my background as well as what actually I wanted to be in a future. She listened about my career prospects, and then I started working with her. So I joined I have started in October last week. Before that, I gave some interviews, but the interview which I had, uh, it was good. But I don't know what strategies, what the way of answering the interviews. I just randomly go sit and answering blah blah kind of stuffs, and so I don't know the actual structure of answering the questions and everything. And sometimes I'm kind of introvert person. I overthink I made assumptions many times. I always feel like I answered wrongly. I don't know what interviewer was thinking, but still I always think my answers are bad. So that is the thing which I was lacking during that time. So when I have some conversation with Meena ma'am, we worked on resumes, structure, and each and everything. And actually, I was lacking with my skill sets. I was not showing that skill set to the interviewers. So that's why my profile has not been shortlisted for the further interviews. Then last month, I gave multiple interviews. I got a lot of opportunities to be connected with the various organizations, and even as you like connection is making relationship, it's one of the most important thing to be like stay in this to know about the organization, about how the market behaves. And so I started connecting with people's, and like a lot of things I learned during that time. Even still I'm learning. And yes, I gave multiple interviews, and like lot of interviews went well. And the best thing, every interview I learned new thing and then try to improve in next interview. So this is how the thing's gonna work. And somehow, like if you failed in 8, you will definitely achieve in 9th interview, 10th interview. You just have to need a one job. Oh, you can't work 2 days, like 2 jobs and all. So like this is how I'm improving day by day. And yeah, like I believe that like no one is perfect. Just it's important to show your uniqueness to the recruiter or whatever like person. And yeah, this is one thing I'm improving. And the best thing I want to share with you all guys, as like I mean, I'm told about the Amir. He's my actually my career coach. Like as a job seeker, it's very challenging to find like jobs, and all the interviews are not going well. And he shared a good experience with me. Like job interviews behaves like a stock market. Sometimes it goes up, frequently up and down. So you don't need to be worried about like you don't perform well and everything. Just to be prepared, just to be practiced, just to be focus on your skill sets, practice, prepare. And this is only the key you can achieve your dream job, what you're actually looking for. So like from last 2 months, this is the first time I'm like presenting myself to all you guys, and I'm learning a lot of things from you all. Like I've been connected to a lot of humble students and seeing their profile. They are doing great in their field, and it gives me a lot of like things to like learn from students, learning from everything. And I always learn to new things on a daily basis. So that's like a good thing. So this is my journey, and still on a daily basis, I'm now like I actually stop overthinking about my assumption and all. And I feel very confident. I feel very optimistic about my approach, and I know that I'm pretty much confident I will clear a job and everything is gonna work in very well. Yeah, that's the way like how the things gonna go. Yeah. So thank you so much. That's a like short introduction from my and everything.
So also, I wanted you to talk a little bit about the hidden job market and how you had your interview today. So how did that journey start?
Okay, so like usually when I was applying for the jobs, even still like I'm actually look at the LinkedIn and the Indeed, but I see that like lot of job markets are not like I believe that 60 to 70% jobs are not there on the social board side or not. You have to be connect with the hiring managers, you have to be connect with the recruiters. So like because I see like like organizations has their own way of hiring, and sometimes you see that yeah, I'm best suited for this role, particular role, but still you haven't get a call for that. So you have to make a connections, and you have to showcase your skills. You have to showcase your like a small elevator pitch, so that interviewer should know why you are passionate about working with your organization, because they see your face and they see your confidence. Yes, this guy is like, I see some kind of brightness in his face and he wanted to work on that. That is kind of attitude requires. And yeah, like you have to make connections with everyone, and if like not purposely for getting a job, like just learn from them what are their journey and what they stand up, how they came up to that position. So this is like it's very important. And right now my interviews are going very well. And like recently I gave one interview which was very good, and I'm hoping for the best results in next few weeks. Along with it, I have some interviews lined up for next week. Still there are vacations, but they are responding like all my applications and all. So yeah, I like.
So Karthik, I will rein you in what I'm trying to make you say and you're not saying.
What you want to like.
So when you joined Destinations here at the end of October,
Yes.
you're a data scientist, you're a new grad from Concordia, who's just completed master's and has 3 years of experience before,
Yes.
right? You've been job searching for a long time,
Yes.
but you were not getting results, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you joined Destinations here.
Yes.
You worked with Amir as your career
Yes.
coach.
Yes.
You worked on your resume. You perfected your elevator pitch, your credible introduction, right? Your accomplishments,
Yes.
right? And you've been
Yes.
working. You've had 7 sessions so far.
Yes. Yes.
7 30-minute sessions so far with Amir, and you feel confident because you're a data scientist, right? Another graduate of Destinations here who had a similar trajectory like yourself is working as a data science manager, right?
Yes.
And I connected you with her for what?
Okay. So like to understand how like my feed works and what actually like that she wanted me to improve. Like she knows about how actually interviewer hiring manager looking for. So she helped me just to perform in this way. And yeah, my interview answer and each and everything. Yeah.
And then what happened?
It were like I got a call from her. She really wanted to meet with his organization, and yeah, like I got a call from her, yeah, for the interview.
So you connected with her because I connected you with her. Okay, let's put it that way.
Yes, yeah,
Because I wanted you to learn from her experience,
yes, yes,
right?
yes,
She liked you so much that the minute she had an opportunity, and that was ironically within a few days, an opportunity within her team arose, the first person she thought of was
yeah, me.
Karthik,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
yes,
when you're curious and you're building connections to learn from somebody who's more experienced, right? They're also getting to know you. And that's the reason why, you are in this hot seat, and tomorrow you will give me good news.
yeah, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, from these various interviews, and you saw we are mid of December.
Yes.
I told you that you will have an offer.
Yes.
You'll have multiple offers. 2 weeks was getting ready. 2 weeks was job search.
Yes.
And these 2 weeks you were interviewing, almost one interview a day. And if you all remember, the last time Karthik was here, I said that Karthik will be interviewing every single day from now onwards.
Yes.
He has been interviewing, and tomorrow he's going to get his offer. So congratulations, Karthik.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, that's a big news, Karthik. Come on, show some excitement.
But like I can't believe that. Like it's a good news. Like, but
You
still,
can't believe. Okay.
I know. No, it's okay.
When you get your offer tomorrow, you'll
Yes.
get the good news.
Yeah,
Right?
that's it. Thank you. Yeah.
So you followed a certain, and I told you
Yes.
what exactly is going to happen. You
Yes.
did it, and you saw the results. Did the crashing market matter to your job search? No,
No, no,
right? Did other people's layoffs matter to you?
no.
No. When you applied properly, you got the results you were supposed to get. Right?
Yes.
It's when you don't apply properly, that's when you don't see the results. And then you start thinking there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's what's wrong is with the process,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So the minute you changed your mentality today,
Yes.
life changed for you.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So believe that you're worth it,
Yes.
and it'll happen for you. Believe you're not worth it, that will also happen for you. So make a choice.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
hope y'all understood the importance of this experience, this exercise y'all will be going through. Y'all will be meeting with these people. My connections, my friends, Mariella says, I think he's shocked. Actually, I think he is too. Maybe he, obviously I get the news before he does, so doesn't matter. The point is, it happens. When I tell you to do something, it's not because I want to waste your time. It's because I've done some background work and I know, but I cannot give you any guarantees because I don't know how you're going to perform. Right? Okay. So keep that in mind. Any questions? I shouldn't be asking that question. Any questions? Because I'm not going to receive any question. So let's go back to it. Karthik, what I shared with you is only for you. Okay, let the good news come the way it's supposed to come.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So going back to interviews, if you all have any questions for Karthik, I mean, he is a data science. Please feel free to reach out to him, or you can ask him in a few minutes. Virtual interviews is one of the most challenging interviews. And for those of you that have had that experience for the first time, when you come in front of the camera, it's challenging. That's why when you get a call for screening, ask them. I remember that the RBC reached out to me as the CEO of Destination CEO and said they'd like me to pitch Destination CEO to RBC. They'd like to partner with us. They knew individually, but they wanted their board to know what Destination CEO did. And I was so used to Zoom, right? At that point, this was the beginning of COVID, and we were building partnerships. And because of COVID, I didn't know how partnerships were going to work because everything was going virtual. So at that point, she sent me a Google Hangout. Okay. And I had no idea that Google Hangout did not have these background filters. Okay. And behind me is, a big Destination CEO flyer. But for when I do your classes, I actually put a filter on where it's Humber and it's not Destination CEO. On the other hand, Zoom also lets me do fake makeup, right? It's got a makeup filter. So I use it. Well, Google doesn't. Neither does Teams. So it kind of like, I had no idea. I just assumed that every platform will have, background filters. So my board and I got onto the call. When I clicked on Google Hangout, there were no background filters, and everything behind me, Destination CEO, my couch, my shawl, everything was like, it looked bad. So one of the first things you want to do, okay, is to make sure that you test the platform that you're going to have your virtual interview on. Make sure you ask which platform they're going to be using and test the tech. Okay, so make sure your mic is working properly, your webcam is working properly. And then the other thing is, after you test your tech, you also want to practice a mock interview on that platform with a friend. Okay, so that or record, so that you can watch yourself, but you can also get the feedback from somebody else. Another thing, during that, when you have that interview, you've prepared, you're familiar with the platform now, you've tested your tech, for the interview, you want to find a quiet place, and you want to stay away from everybody so there are no disturbances, right? I mean, if you have kids, if you have pets, if you have friends, and they're making a ruckus around you and you're trying to have a quiet conversation, it's going to be ridiculous, right? You're going to get distracted. Like I said, you need to be focused on the interview. So tell people around you, hey guys, I have an interview for half an hour. Please give me this half an hour. Don't watch, please tell them not to stream any games or Netflix movies, because that's going to affect your network. Also understand there's usually a 5-second delay between audio to you. So a cool test is you want to do a video call with somebody who is next door. You can probably hear them versus hear them. on the platform, right? If you do a Facebook call or a video call. So there is a 5-second audio delay. And when there is, when other people are streaming, there's going to be a longer delay, or there's going to be network challenges, right? So be prepared that there will be a little delay when you answer and you're wondering. Also be aware of those extra movements or noises. So for example, being nervous during an interview is very common. And when you're nervous, you might be doing something like this, right? Something like this, and not even realize that you're probably playing with yourself, your hair, or clicking on something, right? So yeah, there you go. That's why you're mute, right? But when you're in an interview, you cannot be mute, right? So when you record, you're going to be aware of those background noises. My mic is really powerful. It picks up everything, right? So regardless of what I do, it still picks up. If my son sits, in the living room, so my office is in the dining room, my son sits in the living room and eats chips, you can hear it. And you can hear that loud. See? Exactly. So
That's a really good mic. I wish I had one.
no, it's the gaming mic, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Right. So you want to be aware of these noises, because you may have your friend sitting across from you and eating chips, making fun of you whilst you're trying to focus on an interview. Relax and smile. Okay. Remember, they're able to either hear you or see your facial expressions. When you smile, your voice comes softer and happier. When you don't smile, it sounds like you're really serious, right? So, yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. You need to have a pitch up when you're having a virtual interview, when you're using a mic, and you all know that. But sometimes when you're in an interview, you're nervous and you've got 10 things going on, and right, you're thinking about everything. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You're gonna forget these little things. So have a little cheat sheet. I checked mic, check my hair, check my makeup, right? Check. Another tip, okay? Have the job description, your resume, and the company's profile open on your laptop, okay, or on the computer, so that if they ask you some questions, right, and you don't remember, you can quickly just turn things around and you can see, right? Another thing also is the practice that going to need for a virtual interview is to look at the camera. To like we say, eye contact is very important. Now, if I'm looking at the camera, I have no idea that Herman's playing with his pen or Sonal is smiling, because I'm looking at the camera. I'm not looking at Herman, and his nose is too big, right? It's right in the mic. Yes. Comedy here, but
It's last class. Might as well have some fun.
we have to have fun, man.
Yep.
I pity my last class, because earlier this week I was really rough with them. Anyways, that's probably why half the class is not here today.
That's why I wasn't here like yesterday.
Right. You saw the video, obviously. You saw how upset I was. Anyways, the point is, once you're prepared and you understand everything, confidence will only come with practice. And like Karthik said, right, the more interviews you do, the more you learn, right? The more you learn, the more you're able to practice, right? The better your answers will be. So think about those things. One very important thing, you have the technical skills that's tested in your technical test. You have the experience because you've put that in the paper. But what is really important in today's world are your soft skills, your transferable skills. They're rising. Soft skills are not just the smiles that you have on your face. Soft skills are dealing with people. Soft skills are the way you think, right? The critical thinking, your logic. Soft skills are how you solve conflicts, right? Soft skills are how can, how do you communicate in different scenarios with different people, right? So if you don't have those basic soft skills, right, then you are none other than a robot, right? Because there you tell the robot to do something and it's done. You're not expecting any love from the robot, any fuzzy, fluffy things, right? But when it comes to human, you are expecting that, right? You're expecting that one-on-one touch. You're expecting that genuineness, right? So I've given you a report over here whenever you have time, but soft skills in demand by McKinsey Consultancy, and the soft skills that are going to be needed until 2030. And they're always going to be needed because computers will never replace us. They may replace many aspects of the things we do, but they're never going to replace humans. Okay. Now you need to be human. Don't be a computer. Okay. Remember that things will be much better. Okay. Competency-based interviews. So you've learned about the situations, you've learned about the behaviors, right? It's about, certain things are about, the technicals, right? The hard skills. You got the soft skills. Now it's about the transferable skills. So quite like what I was saying, critical thinking, communication, teamwork. These are important transferable skills that you need in your daily lives, right? Be it, let's say you're banking, you've gone to withdraw some cash, your card is stuck, right? You can call somebody for help, right? And that is communication. I need money right now. Or, you call your friend, you call an Uber, right? Recently, the best example, and I keep going back to it, capstones, right? Making those teams, making sure those teams are working, making sure that they were prepared for interviews, right? Making sure that they perform during the interviews. All of that was a responsibility. Some of you worked as great team workers, team players, and some of you did great as team leaders, right? So talking about these experiences, this is what employers want to know. Will you do it, right? Interpersonal skills, taking responsibility. I took your responsibility. I said to all of you, I'm going to make sure nobody fails this course, right? Whatever I have to do. You all realized 4 weeks ago now, was it 3 weeks or 4 weeks? 25th of November, right? That was the D-Day. 25th of November, only what? 3 weeks, thank you. Only four groups had projects out of 33 teams. I was horrified. I just couldn't believe that could be possible, right? Out of my 19 projects, 9 of them got rejected. It's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But I took your responsibility. So I had to do whatever I had to do to make sure that you all succeeded, right? So what is it that you took the responsibility for, right? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be work related, be education related. It could be family related, right? It could be a personal goal related. But think about those different things that you've done and write down these little stories, because they're going to ask you, tell me about a time when you had several tasks to manage at one time with conflicting deadlines. When do you have that? Right now? Actually, next semester? You're going to have conflicting, like for example, half of the class is not here. Means clearly they're not able to manage their time deadlines, right? When I ask anybody, why didn't you come to class? We have multiple projects. Okay. Welcome to the world. All of those things are really exciting. It's about learning about yourself and how to communicate, effectively. But then there are some things that's a big no-no. And some of you do it without even realizing. Okay, there are a set of illegal questions that employers ask in a different roundabout ways, and some that you all just blatantly share. Okay, and I'll tell you one thing that you all blatantly share is about your status, the fact that you're an international student. It does not matter if you're an international student. I want you all to remember the only time it matters, your status matters, is if it is attached to a funding or it is a federal government job. Okay, that is the only time your status officially matters, and the employers can officially ask you, please confirm your status. Otherwise, no employer is legally allowed to ask you. The legal question they can ask, are you legally eligible to work in Canada? You are an international student, which means you have a work permit. Your answer is yes, I am. Okay, so a lot of times international students, but I'm an international student, yes, and that matters. How? I did my master's in Bombay, so you've done your master's. That's what I asked, right? Stick with the question. Stick with the answer. Do you have your master's degree? Yes, I do. If I ask you in what, from where, you can answer. So sometimes we are too quick on giving answers to questions that can, to questions that will work against our favor. So understand what are some illegal questions. Race and color. Okay, huge discrimination. 20 years ago, people used to put their photographs. 20, 30 years ago, they used to put photographs, and it's still, you're still supposed to put photographs in some companies on your resume. But in Canada, it became a huge discriminatory point. People were being discriminated for their name. People were being discriminated for the way they looked, for their color. It's legally, it's illegal to discriminate anybody because of race and color. Biases are there, so be it, but keep those things in mind. That's one of the reasons why you're not supposed to put your picture on your resume. Your religion, right? Your creed, your beliefs. You cannot be discriminated. But you also have to do your own research. So for example, a company called World Vision, it's a nonprofit. It's a Christian organization, right? So there are certain Christian or Catholic organizations in which the morning starts with Catholic prayers. So if you are a non-Catholic person, right, you may not want to be involved in those prayers. I don't know. There are people, right? So if you've done the research and you don't mind being involved in the prayers, great. That is their values, and that's going to happen. They cannot not hire you because you're not a Christian, you're not a Catholic, and you just have to know that that is their requirement. If you wanted to work there, you need to be involved there. Okay, so nobody can ask you what is your religion. When does this come into place? Nowadays, a lot more with the whole Islamophobia thing, the whole hijab thing, or the whole turban thing, right? So keeping this in mind, we move forward. Place of origin, citizenship, and this is where I talk about, international students are dying to tell everybody that they're international students. Please don't. Chances are you may be discriminated because you're an international student. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you're legally eligible to work in Canada, then that's it. Okay? They want to know your status. If they are making you the offer, then sure, I'm legally eligible to work in Canada. I'm on applied status, right? Gender. This happens a lot, and a lot of changes have come to, they cannot ask you your gender blatantly, but this happens when people they go by different genders, but they were born in a different gender, right? So you go by female, but you're really born male, right? So you cannot be discriminated against that. And this happens to a lot when they show up for the interview. They've applied for a job, your ID is male, but you show up as a female. Whoa. Okay. So that is a discriminatory factor, and that's why an employer cannot officially ask you your gender. It will be there, but you refuse to answer, that's fine. That's why LinkedIn started, right? That she, they, him, a whole thing. Sexual orientation. What is your preference is your preference. Just because you're not straight or a specific orientation that you'll be rejected. Okay. Nobody can ask you, please remember, your marital status. Okay. Nobody can officially ask you your marital status. This also comes in, when I'm telling you about these illegal questions, I also want you all to keep in mind, these are not the questions to be asked for somebody that you're not very close to. So you want to go, and when we watch Tariq's video, his first 6 months in the job, you all will see he's done all of these issues, right? Because they're cultural issues, right? So marital status, who somebody is, with or not, is none of your business. Okay. And employers definitely cannot ask you. They can ask you about your emergency contact or beneficiary, insurance beneficiary, but that's a different issue. That person can be anybody. Record of offenses. In certain positions, your criminal reference is checked, right? If you have a conviction, but you've gotten a pardon, you do not need to disclose it. All right. So nobody can tell you, have you been convicted previously? Right. And if they do, and you actually have a conviction and you've not been granted, you may have to share that information, but they cannot officially ask you if you have been given the granted. Age, nobody can ask you your age. Sonal, you look so young. How old are you? No. They can say, Nina, you look so young. You're between the ages of 18 and 25. And I look at you and say, really? I have a kid older than that. So if somebody wants to ask you, they can ask you, you're between the ages of this and this. Again, how is that relevant? Right? If it is related to a funding, for example, youth employment, right? The youth employment program is for youth between the ages of 16 to 24. So they cannot ask you how old you are. They can ask you, are you between 16 and 24? Right? So that's the legal question. So it's a way of asking all these illegal questions I want you to be aware of. Another thing that I want you all to keep in mind, disability. No employer can officially legally ask you if you have any disabilities. Okay? You only disclose disability. What, Herman, are you trying to say something with your fingers? No? Okay, I'm just trying to figure out. You're trying to distract me, right? The you only disclose disabilities if you need accommodations. Otherwise, you do not need to. Now, on the other hand, every company needs to have a certain number of people with disabilities. So if you were to apply through that, or women, or invisible minorities, or blah, 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 right? So if you apply through that, you'll get faster jobs. However, legally, you don't need to disclose that you have a disability, right? Unless you need an accommodation. So keep those things in mind. And next semester, in employer engagement, I invite my my best friend to come in, who is a senior HR leader, to talk about all of these things in detail and how to review and negotiate your offer letter. One of the major questions that most interviewees have a hard time to talk about is weaknesses. So my Amir, he does a phenomenal job about talking about weaknesses and how to prepare for that. So Karthik,
Yes.
did you prepare this
Yes.
answer? Would you like to
Yes.
share?
Yes, definitely. Okay. So if someone asks me about my weakness, what I usually say, like sometimes it can be difficult for me to deliver multiple project deliverables that are due at same time, and it like I can be overwhelmed and it might impact my work. So this is something which I'm improving over time. So I started making my schedule before starting of the day. I prioritize my work as per the urgency and I review it timely. And it's really helping me to overcome with that. That's
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karthik. So you see, you know, a lot of us, we have a hard time answering this question, and we confuse this question, right? Sometimes like, I'm not weak, I am perfect, right? Sometimes like, God, I have so many flaws, right? Really depends on the day we are having. Sometimes I'll ask Herman, how you doing? And Herman will come and he's like, oh, see, he's already got his thumbs down. Well, yeah, Sonal, she's always thumbs up.
It's because my life is great, so I'll always bring up the negative.
Yes.
It can always be
and-
better, so I'll work my way to make it better.
And you know what? I'm going to buddy you up with Karthik, because today Karthik had a long, very tough lecture with me, right, Karthik?
Yes, yes.
Yes. And after today, if Karthik says anything negative, he's in a big soup.
Yes.
Yes. So we all have weaknesses. We need to understand, and we need to understand our weaknesses. But come on, I mean, don't be silly enough to go and tell the employer, I know that you need somebody who can multitask and do so many projects and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not that person. That's my biggest weakness. Not going to say that. Okay. So, you know, think about a weakness that is not extremely important, pertinent for the job. Okay. And make an answer around that. So similar to what Karthik said, you know, obviously he's not going to say that in an interview, which he probably did. I don't know. Were you asked this, Karthik?
No, like till
Aren't
now,
you lucky?
yes. No one asked me about my weakness till now. And so this is the first time you asked me and then I answered.
Because he was prepared, right? But I've given you some examples on weaknesses that you can actually share without the employer freaking out, okay, or you know, rejecting you. And always pick weaknesses that you're working to improve towards. So just like how Karthik said, you know, I need a system, so I put in a priority system, right? And that's my weakness. So you can pick, you know, a hard skill, or, you know, like I know many of you have challenges with confrontation or public speaking. I hate confrontations. I don't know how to deal with confrontations. I'd rather, you know, not come out of my house than to face somebody that I'm upset with. Because if I face somebody that I'm upset with, I don't know what's going to happen, right? So, you know, but it's life. We have to face this, right? I mean, I could have been mad with all of you, and, you know, done what? What would you have achieved, right? So when you're upset, you got to think why you're upset about something, right? What is it that you're missing? Not what they're missing. Something wrong with me, right? So how am I overcoming this? How am I bettering it? So I felt terrible that, I got upset because half the class didn't show up on Tuesday with those that actually showed up. And I'm feeling so guilty that I want to send them an apology message. But if I send them the apology message, then everybody's going to say, and then they're going to do this to me next semester. I'm not going to send anybody an apology message. You guys are here. I'm telling you all. Okay? Don't use this against me. Sometimes spend more time than necessary on a task. Right? And you IT people are like that. Right? You never think something is beautiful. You always say, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? And it's never going to be over. But ladies and gentlemen, life has to move on. There are other things to take care of. Okay. So as much as you want to spend like 1,000,000 hours, perfecting something is just done. It's like job search, right? I mean, how much time are you going to waste being unsuccessful? When is it that you're going to say, enough is enough, I cannot do it on my own, I need to get help, right? You have to say that at some point, right? So what is some of those weaknesses? Think about it. I've given you some really cool examples over here. Feel free to use it. I've written it down for you. Always remember this one thing. Don't be cocky. And what I mean, there's a very fine line between being confident and being overconfident. It's when you step on that line, right? Some people will actually like you and some people will absolutely dislike you. So sometimes I show I'm overconfident. Okay? But honestly, shitting in my pants. Okay? I am dead scared. Right? I will not even tell myself I am scared. The minute I tell myself I'm scared, I'm going to be. Go ahead, Sonal. Unmute yourself. I haven't heard your voice all day.
It's like game over.
Game over. I know. It's like, oh crap. So when, I keep going back to the capstones because you all have been through this journey with me, right? When I heard I have to bring in approximately 40 projects every semester, I'm like, 10 to 15 projects takes so much time. 40 projects, like seriously? Right? And guess what? I don't even get paid for it. Right? How's that supposed to happen? Well, it's simple, right? I'm supposed to teach the students to bring projects. I'm like, yeah, but look at everything that students have to go through. Expecting them to bring projects, okay? Not going to be easy. Some of them, yes, will. Some of them will not be able to. That's no fault of the students. It's a new environment, it's a new world, it's a new network. I'm asking them to speak to C-suite people who they're not even, comfortable speaking to strangers. And getting them to speak to CIOs and CTOs, I know it's difficult. Okay. The thing that I'm teaching you is extremely difficult. And honestly, I know 80% of you are not going to be able to get it. I know that. So I am always, prepared that, okay, I know they're not going to be able to do it, but that's not going to stop me from teaching them. And that's why right in day one, I say, hey, if you don't get it, you're going to fail. But I'm working behind the clock, making sure that, if that situation happens, I'm going to take care of it. Just like when I tell you, hey, I think you should speak to so-and-so because I know something that you don't. But I'm not going to tell you that. If I tell you what's the fun, I take out all the fun, right? So if I tell you, Alex, that I need you to talk to somebody, don't ask me questions. You go talk. Right, Anna? Right, Lisa? I don't know if Aman is still here. Aman, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're there. You're there.
Yeah.
I don't know where you are. You disappeared somewhere. Anyways, correlate your experience with the job requirements and the company challenges. Done that. Quantify your achievements. We talked about accomplishments and how you can quantify it on your resume. Try to use, when you're answering, use the ABC or the STAR format to answer your questions. You want to give them a story so they can remember, right? And a simple example, and I've shared it with you, is when somebody reached out to me and I said, what is it that you want to, what's your dream job? And he said to me, and this is a perfect example of ABC. He said to me he wants to create something. Oh, I should tell you this. He wants to create something that 20% of the world population is going to use. And in order to create that, he was a founder of multiple startups. But in order to create something like that, he wanted to teach. Right? He wanted to work with students. He wanted to get involved with the college. Somehow, I helped him and he got into this position. But when he started off with that, right? I want to create something that 20% of the world's population uses. Imagine what a dynamic statement that is. Right? So when you go out there and say, I want to create or I want to do something, and you put that impact statement, automatically the next question is, how? What are you going to do? How are you going to get there? And that's really how the interviews should go. You answer taking them on a story, but you leave an impact. And many of you did that. That is the reason why we have common sponsors for multiple teams, because you all interviewed so well. I must have done something right by you. Very important, please do not be desperate. Do not appear desperate. The minute you appear desperate in your interview, you will be lowballed. You're the perfect candidate, they'll try to negotiate and bring the salary down, right? Know your worth. Minute you know what you deserve and you believe in it, trust me, it'll happen. Minute you don't believe in it, you don't believe in your worth, it won't happen. Okay? So believe in what you deserve, truly. Always have questions prepared for interviews. So I gave you some questions for screen. Here are some questions that you can ask, again, depending on who you're speaking to, about training programs. If you're speaking to, understand the panel, right? If you're interviewing with HR, you obviously want to ask about the training programs. You want to ask about the reporting structure, right? About the performance appraisal. So you want to ask them questions relating to HR. If you're speaking to the hiring manager directly, you want to talk to them about the projects, right? That they're involved in, about what the success is going to be like. What are some of the challenges that they foresee as a manager that the person will go through? Okay, so take some questions out. I've given you multiple resources, in this on this kit. Use those, download it for yourself, because these things will help you regardless of where you go. Another thing, my darlings, is that this is a destination SEO copyright material. I charge big bucks to teach this. This is given to you for free because I care for your success and I am your teacher. So please appreciate you not sharing this information with anybody. I will kill the link the minute I know that. Common interview questions, all right? A lot of times, right, we prepare for answers. And a lot of times we forget that interviews is not just the answers you give, but it's how you how you look as well, right? How you behave, the non-verbal mistakes that we make. So if you'll remember with Tariq's interview, he's moving his hands, he's talking too much, right? Those are non-verbal issues, and Henry talks about it, right? So what are these non-verbal things? Be it in person or be it virtual, right? Playing with your hair, moving your hands too much. Biggest issue most employers, interviewers have is the fact that, candidates do not prepare. They do not know anything about the company, right? And many a times, one of the most important questions, what do you know about the company? What do you know about the role? In fact, I'm spending tomorrow 8 hours with a panel of coordinators and associate dean. One of the most important questions to every candidate we're asking is, hey, what do you know about Harvard College and what do you know about the role? What do you know about the program? Because we want to know that they have spent some time in preparing. Another thing is about lack of eye contact. When you, in a face-to-face, in a physical interview, when you don't have eye contact, it's like, you're hiding away, you're looking somewhere else. It indicates human nature is you're lying. Now, when we are in a virtual interview, right? Eye contact means looking at the camera. It gets difficult when you're looking at the camera. You don't know the facial, features, about with the employer, right? With the interviewer. So it takes some time practicing, but please get into the habit of recording, specifically with the interviews. Not smiling. We get nervous, and we get nervous to the point that we forget to smile. We're like how Amandeep is right now, is so serious. There comes a smile. Right? We become so serious that we forget to smile. Right? Without realizing is, when you don't smile, you're not approachable. Right? You feel strict. You feel, I'm going to spend 8 hours with this person who seems so, away in their own world, right? So smile is one thing that is free and that we should always have. And we should share as much as we can. Poor posture, hand gestures, handshakes, crossed arms, okay? In the Canadian culture, apparently, if you're sitting with crossed arms, it means that you're hiding something, or you're closed, right? It's just, I don't, apparently it's a problem. I didn't know. I've been sitting crossed, anyways, you get the point. The usual handshake, fidgeting. Ladies and gentlemen, if at all, I tell you, be authentic, prepare your stories, learn about the company, and be you. You being you is most important. An interview is like a performance, and like they say, the show must go on, right? You cannot be performing or be in performance mode when you're working 8 to 10 hours a day. Okay, so you have to understand yourself. If a job requires you to be in performance mode, you're going to get burnt out, you're going to get exhausted. So at the end of the day, you need to be you. If you're a quiet person, show enthusiasm for the job, but your quietness will come, and that is who you are. Yes, I will hire you in a heartbeat, Herman. Look at his smile. Right? And Sonal too, by the way. Right? So prepare, be aware, be you. And as long as you do those things, you believe in yourself, the right employer will come for you. You don't do this, you fake it. Like, I was laughing with a friend of mine who has a very big interview tomorrow, and she's like, oh, fake it till you make it. I said, yeah, but then you need to make it because you are going to get it. And she's like, ouch. Because what my experience was not fun. When I shared this experience, like, the last 3 weeks I've been working 100 hours. Are you ready for that? And they're like, no. So many of them withdrew. Like, what the heck? I remember for my career connections role for CPAT, I spoke to so many people, right? And they're like, I have to do what you're doing? I don't think so. I don't have the time for it, right? Because 80% of the job is unpaid. If I ask you, will you do it? No. But you see, if you have passion about something, it'll happen naturally. So when you're passionate about something, it'll come naturally in your interview. When you're passionate about something, it'll come naturally in your stories. You just need to know how to give that story properly. Okay. So reasons why we miss out on conversions: lack of preparation, inappropriate appearance, failure to ask questions, big one. A poor attitude. If you have a great attitude and not great technical skills, they'll teach you. If you have a poor attitude but the best technical skills, you may still not get it. And you all have yourself said that you won't hire such a person yourself. Poor nonverbal communication. Okay. It's important to have that engagement piece, right? And poor nonverbal, as I said, is, not being prepared, not making an effort. If you cannot make an effort to look a certain way, to be prepared for the interview, are you really going to come to my office and do the job that I expect you to do? Right? So I'll clue you into one thing. Recently, I've been interviewing a lot, okay, directly or indirectly. I've been helping a lot of employers find strong talent. And I look at resumes and I'm amazed at those resumes, right? But I look at the resumes that come in. So I was involved with one of the employers, and the HR screened the resumes and sent. Okay. When I say amazed, I was actually horrified. That resume was only screened because it had keywords written all over it. That was the only reason why that resume was given. HR had no idea what we were looking for, even though we said very clearly the technical skills, the hard, the soft, the transferable, the experience we wanted. This was a senior role. The experience we wanted was more soft and transferable. All they picked was the technical skills. Okay. Pages and pages of resumes. I was talking to another senior hiring manager, HR manager, earlier today, and I was, telling her about the resumes that I'm interviewing some of them, and she's like, yeah, I see those resumes too. Like, if the resumes are so bad, what does it say about the whole screening process? Get my point? So interviews is where you are going to get your mark. But interviews may not happen if you're only focused on getting your resume out of the inbox. Okay. You have to do a whole multiple array of things. Employer at the end of the day needs someone who can do the job, will do the job, and is willing to do the job. Remember that. Okay? You can do the job. You've got the skills and experience. That's why you're having this interview. Will you do the job? I know you're very talented, but will you really do the job? Do you want this job? Are you willing to do the job? Means I can only afford to pay you this much money. You really willing to take this, considering your experience, and stay with us? As long as you make them, if you convince them with these three things, the job is yours. I have a video I'm not going to get into, so see it at your own time, how to prepare for technical interviews. Next semester, I'm going to bring in a really cool mentor who's an assistant director of development with a Fortune 100 company. And she's going to be teaching you how to prepare for these technical interviews. Final question, post-interview. Okay, within 24 hours post-interview, you must send a thank you email. Okay, as soon as you finish your interview, try to find yourself 5 to 15 minutes quiet time right after the interview, right? And write down the questions that you've given. You know, a lot of times what happens is right after the interview, right after you've answered, you think, damn, I should have answered it like this, or I said the wrong answer. I knew the answer, but I missed it, right? A lot of times this happens. Your thank you emails is your saving grace. This is where you put in the right answer. So one of my students, game programming student, he was going for an interview. His name is King. His actual name is Daniel, but he changed it to King Arthur. Literally, you can look him up. So AMD, it's a very big company, and they were going into gaming. So they came to Hamburg. They invited a whole bunch of new grads to come for an interview. So King went for the interview, and he royally messed up. Royally. When he came back, so about, I think 8 or 10 of my students from the same class had gone, and you know, many of them got job offers, but King got rejection. Whereas King could ace any of them in a heartbeat. So it was like, King, what happened? I can't believe he got it, that one got it, you didn't? What did you do? It's like, and he said, yeah, I messed up. You know, I didn't answer this right. I didn't answer that right. I'm like, King, come on. You so deserve this job. Send an email. I knew the employer, obviously. I'm like, please send an email to him and tell him what happened. You got nervous. You knew the answers. You messed up. These are the right answers you give you another opportunity. And very reluctantly, if you see King, he's a large guy with a big beard and crazy hair. You know, it's like literally King Arthur types. Okay. I got him to send that email, and lo and behold, the employer actually read the email, was really touched with the fact that King wrote that email, invited him for the interview, and King's actually the manager over there right now. Okay. So all of those guys that were hired went under King. Right? The point is, it takes guts, right, to write an email like that. So when you, within 24 hours, you know, after your interview, you do this overview of what happened, write down those questions, how you could have answered better, and then individually, if you've had a panel interview, you want to send everybody an individual thank you email, but send a thank you email. I can see the lights going off. Okay, so within 24 hours post-interview, you must send a thank you email. Express gratitude for your employer's time, highlight your qualifications once again, reinstate your interests, and communicate your enthusiasm. You'll find plenty of templates out there. Remember to customize it, but please personalize it based on your interviews. I have given you numerous resources over here. Feel free to use it as you need. If you need an extra motivation, watch this video. She's one of my students who struggled a lot before she found me. Ha. And next thing, always remember, you're the CEO of your destiny. Okay. Regardless of what people say, how they say, whatever, don't believe in their BS. You believe in yourself and things will happen for you. All right. So I know that the library is closing. I'm going to put attendance over here. Very few of you are here, but that's okay. The recording will be up. Please remember to finish your assignments. And I have a humble request, and please share with your friends that the one way I know I'm doing a good job is when you do your SFQs, student feedback questionnaire. So I please request you to complete the student feedback questionnaires. And if you don't agree with something, tell me the reason why. I'm always looking to better my courses, as you all know, and you giving me this important feedback helps me get better. Okay, so please complete the SFQs. Wish you all the best for your exams. Wish you a wonderful holiday and take care of yourself. And I will see you in the new year. Remember to look up my email for the kickoff. If the team leaders are here, please let your sponsors know that their projects have been approved. Thank you to those who have copied me on those emails, and let them know that they'll be hearing from me next week about the kickoff. Okay? Have a very, very good night. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Meena. Bye.
Welcome.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much. It
Meena.
was really interesting. Have a good night.
Hey, you guys stay here for a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye to everybody at Humber. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'm going to stop